Hey, this is James, fitness and sports instructor with PSP Kingston with another workout of the day installment. So a quick reminder, if during this session and the other sessions you think you might have picked up an injury, just make sure you get it checked out with a medical professional, make sure it's nothing too serious. And if you are a CAF member, just make sure you fill out ACF 98. So moving on to talking through our session today. So we're gonna do a bodyweight series session in the bodyweight series installment. So today's is a little bit different, takes a little bit of a talk through here. So what we're doing is a 45-minute AMRAP, as many rounds as possible, but high quality AMRAP. So we're gonna talk through what that means in a little bit here. So just going through those AMRAP, what each round is gonna consist of. So we've got our 3 movements: pull-up or chin-up with the substitution exercise of a single arm row, push-ups, and air squat. So the rep prescriptions for these, so for the pull-up or chin-up, what you're gonna be looking at is 50% of your single set max. So whatever your single set max is, you're gonna take 50% of that number. That's the number you're shooting for on each round. Push-up, same thing. So 50% of your one single set maximum. And with the air squat, we're going with 50 reps. If 50 reps is way too daunting for you, if you just hear that number and that just doesn't jive, your alternate for that one would just be to set a timer for 1 minute and get as many reps in as you can in that 1 minute mark. So either 50 reps or that 1 minute max out. So with that pull-up or chin-up, just to talk that through. So again, pull-up or chin-up, push-up, 50% of your 1 rep max. So let's say on your pull-up or chin-up, you can do 10 reps on that single set as a max out. You're gonna do sets of 5 reps. Push-up, let's say you can do 20 reps as that single set. You're gonna be doing sets of 10 reps as you go through with this AMRAP. Now, just to talk through again, AMRAP as many rounds as possible generally usually means you're trying to go as fast, get as many rounds in as you can, but because we're focusing on some high quality work for this session, you're gonna slow that down a bit. So even though you are trying to get as many rounds as you can, you are also trying to keep your quality as high as possible. And a really good way to measure that quality, and something to just keep in mind, is that all of your sets should be unbroken. What that means is that if you're aiming for that 10 sets of push-ups, that should be 10 sets without any pauses at any point in time. You shouldn't have to chop them up at all. Every set, you get from 1 till the end without having to pause. Same thing with the pull-ups or chin-ups, same thing with the air squat. So that's kind of the goal here. So you might have to take a little bit of extra rest in between the exercises, maybe some extra rest at the end of each round. Rest as needed so you can keep that quality really high. And not only is the quality high in terms of not breaking, but also the movement quality itself stays very, very strict. Very good tempos in all the exercises, making sure the range of motions are all really good. So a little bit of a different flavor on this one, and this is a very good building session to kind of build quality, build your capacity, as well as build some really good movement patterns. So we're gonna run into just a couple little movement demos, just so we know what we're going with. So we'll start off with that pull-up or chin-up exercise, and then also show our substitute. So pull-ups or chin-ups, pull-ups, overhand grip, chin-ups, underhand grip. Either of those options are fine. 6 of one, half dozen the other. If one option works better for you or anything like that, that's fine. Just choose what you prefer or what works better for you with your setup. So quick demonstration. And just a quick talk through on that one. So that was our pull-up, overhand grip. Again, chin up, you just flip those hands around. Underhand grip with that pull-up. Key thing here is just make sure you're focusing on using the upper back musculature. Pull through the armpit, drive those elbows back and down. Rather than just kind of heaving your chin up to the bar, we're trying to focus on getting some of that upper back musculature engaged here. So doing that that little bit of a cue to just kind of focus on trying to bring those elbows back and down rather than getting that chin up. It's gonna help get a little bit more engagement there. Just a little quick thing, just make sure your midline's engaged. That'll keep you from swinging too much. Feet can be straight or bent, whatever works for you. So we've got the perfect setup here with our 4-poster. You probably don't have one of those at home. You probably don't have a wall mounted, so you might have to get creative with those pull-ups or chin-ups. Some of your videos we've mentioned things, door frames, kids' playgrounds, I-beam in your basement, something of that sort. Just make sure it's sturdy enough. Give it a couple reps to try before you hop on there and bang out a bunch. But again, that's gonna be your pull-up or chin-up if you have that option available. If for whatever reason you don't have that option available at home, you're not able to do your pull-ups or chin-ups, or you're not able to do pull-ups or chin-ups just because of your ability, and that's perfectly fine. It's a very challenging exercise. Our alternate exercise for this one is gonna be single arm row. So quick demo on this one. So we've got a sandbag here. Easy homemade sandbag, fill a duffel bag or a backpack, something with a handle, with some weight, sand, rocks, water bottle, something that sort of gives it a little bit of load. Make sure it's a decent load. Just make sure you're able to get some weight on there. And for this one, because we're basing it off of a 1 rep max, you'd want that exercise, that single arm row, to elicit your failure somewhere between like 50 and 30 reps, so that you're able to half that number and still get a decent amount in. So somewhere between that 50 and 30 rep marker on the one side would be a good to shoot for. So quick down on the single arm row, split stance, back nice and straight, drop down, and with that hanging arm, pulling that elbow up and back, and driving that hand up into the rib cage, and then switching over, and then you would just perform same reps on the opposite side. So perform all the reps on the one side before switching to the other. So again, if you're doing the single arm row, just make sure you know the weight. If you can, throw it on a scale, make sure it's heavy enough, and make sure that you have that number that you know in mind to get for that 50% of that 1 rep max out. So pull up or chin up, single arm row, those are the first exercise. Second exercise, we've got push-ups. Quick demo on the push-up. So with our push-up, hands roughly shoulder width or maybe just a little bit wider, kind of play around, find what's comfortable for you. Try and keep those elbows tucked in a little bit, don't let them splay out too far here. Keeps the shoulders a little in a healthier range. Move as one piece, keep that midline nice and engaged. Focus on nice, good range of motion. So try and get that chest right to the floor, nice full extension at the top. So again, because we're basing this on a relative max, and we're looking at 50% of your rep max, with the push-ups, with this one here, you probably want to be around the 10 to 15 marker as a minimum for that 1 rep max out set. So if you're below that doing a standard push-up, that's fine. Again, we're just going to alter the exercise a little bit to get you in a better range to work with that 50% ranger. So what we'd be looking at with this one here would be jumping on and doing some incline hand elevated push-ups. So if you have a chair or a sturdy couch or bench, you can use stairs, if you have a side table. So something that's roughly knee height is usually probably a good range for most people. And you can kind of play around the height that you need to. But having those hands elevated and doing the standard push-up. So all the same provisions that we have with the push-up. The only difference is your hands are higher than your feet. It's just going to make it a little bit easier for you to get your reps in. And again, this is just to make sure that you're getting the right stimulus that you need. You want to get enough reps on those 50%ers as you go through to make sure you're getting some good quality work in. So again, if you're under that 10, probably more like that 15 on that single set rep out max, throw those hands up, get into that elevated incline position, bang out those reps like that. And our last one here, we have air squats. So again, it's 50 reps or a 1 minute max out. So real quick on the air squats, feet shoulder width, hip width apart. Toes can be straightforward, might be pointed out a little bit. Most people find them pointed out a little more comfortable, and that's fine as long as you track in those knees over top of the toes. We're gonna go with prisoner position to get the midline engaged, and then from here, just dropping down. And then a quick demo from the side. So key things on this, the air squat, work within your range. So if you're a little bit lacking mobility, that's fine. Just work the range that works for you. Work on that mobility, increase that range as you go. Couple key things, just keep that spine nice and straight, long as you're squatting down. Keep that chest up. Make sure, again, that your knees are tracking over top of the toes, pushing through the midfoot or the heel portion, staying back a little bit on there. But when you are squatting, unlock the hips, but try not to push back too far and come down to this position here. Rather try and squat with the hips down rather than too far back, just to keep some of that engagement on terms of the front part of the leg, the quadricep area. So that's like a little key thing on the air squat there. But again, key thing with the air squat is just make sure you're working with your range of motion that works for you. Don't try and push it too hard. Make sure that the movement quality stays high with the range of motion that works for you. So that's just that quick rundown right there on our 3 movements: pull up or chin up with the 1 arm row substitute, push up and air squat. So for a more detailed description and just a couple other provisions, or if you want to go over it again, just check the description section just underneath the YouTube page here. Have a look, have a read through, take a little picture if you want on your phone while you perform this workout. And again, just a reiteration, even though it's an AMRAP, high quality AMRAP. So take that time, take the rest, make sure all those movements stay really high with your quality and unbroken. Just a quick reminder as well, we have all of our PSP Kingston social media channels, PSP Kingston Instagram, PSP Kingston Facebook, as well as the PSP Kingston YouTube page, where you're going to find all of the libraries of all of our past workout of the day sessions that you can browse through and find some other stuff that you might want to try. And give us a like, give us a follow on all those social media channels so you get reminders of all these workouts of the day when they come out and what's coming up in the future. If you have any questions or concerns at any point in time, use those channels, let us know in the comments section, and we will get back to you with anything that you need to know. Again, give us that like and follow on those social media channels, and best of luck with today's session.
PSP Kingston, the health and wellness provider for the military community.